As a therapist, as an educator of DEI, as a person who talks about sexuality and pleasure and mental health and Blackness and Black femaleness, as a person who is interested in the free, fabulous, and fucked lives of Black women especially, but people everywhere, I can't not talk about systems of power. Systems of power are seductive. They are constantly trying to get us to be part of the haves instead of remaining firmly entrenched in the have-nots. It wants us to want it. It wants us to want to be the people in power so that we can do unto others. Systems of power, racism, sexism, colorism, etc., they are made to disrupt. They disrupt the lives of the people who are often under its oppressive thumb and have to engage with the system simply to survive. So peace becomes this beautiful tool that we often are calling for, that we love, that we want to engage with, but it is especially called by oppressors after they have already done some oppressing. It is a tactic of violence and terrorism because it is used to decry and to say that violent measures are inappropriate, but only after they have already enacted various acts of violence. They will be peaceful for a bit and they will talk about their supposed goodness because that's where they want to start the story. They don't want to start the story with their violence, right? So I personally like to think of Ragnarok and how, before, how did Odin get these riches? How did Odin create this space? He created it on death and destruction and then decided to start the story somewhere new because it felt better, right? Because we don't want to deal with the cognitive dissonance of the fact that sometimes we have been oppressed and then we become the oppressor. So we start the story where it's convenient, and then when we are asked to give something back, when someone is asking for their freedom, for their right to life, for their land, then we say that they are actually the terrorists, and we want to engage with them in violence, but to say that our violence is retaliatory against them. That is how systems of power are often work. Again, the seductive lure is bringing us in and it starts the story where it's convenient. We've seen it with white supremacy. We've seen it with male supremacy. And now we're seeing it in Palestine. Seems like there's just a constant interest and an invested desire for that lure of power, as Loki would say, right? Because we are constantly in a space where we're asking people to be less than they are in order to engage with the systems of power that have already been oppressive to them, while trying to start the story in a place that is convenient. They're wanting to start the story with Hamas. That is a very convenient starting place. We often want to start the story with Black women being uncooperative. That is a very convenient place to start the story. Systems of power are wanting to maintain their power, which means that the story will never start at the beginning. The story will start where it's convenient for them, where it meets their agenda, which means that it is your job to consider where you stand in the maelstrom of power and privilege. I personally stand with Black women, not just because I am a Black woman, but because I stand with the oppressed. I stand with Black, LGBTQ, fat, dark-skinned, kinky-haired, etc., Black women. And I stand with Palestine because I cannot watch genocide and justify it. And I understand that sometimes the oppressed becomes the oppressor because of the bright lure of power that seduces and makes them want to be able to stand on something. Where do you stand? Where you sitting in all this stuff? Because as much as we like to complicate it, it ain't complicated. It's either you believe genocide is right or you believe genocide is wrong. Feel free to hit me in the comments, but make sure that you keep it respectful. I am a therapist. I am not your therapist. I will cuss you clean out. All right? Discourse, not disrespect.